यस्य रूपमधिकम् प्रच्छन्नगुप्तं धनम् विद्या भोगकरी यशः सुखकरी विद्या गुरुणा गुरुः विद्या बन्धुजनो विदेशगमने विद्या परं दैवतम् विद्या राजसु पूज्यते न तु धनम् विद्या विहीनः पशुः विद्या प्रशस्यते लोकैः विद्या सर्वत्र गौरवा विद्यया लभते सर्वम् विद्वान् सर्वत्र पूज्यते ज्ञानेन सदृशं पवित्रमिह विद्यते न हि ज्ञानेन सदृशं पवित्रमिह विद्यते न हि ज्ञानेन सदृशं पवित्रमिह विद्यते।
Dr. Arjun Lakhe has been serving as an assistant professor of economics at Mulund College of Commerce, Autonomous, since November 2013. With over 12 years of experience in academia, he has been deeply involved in teaching economics to both undergraduate and postgraduate students. Dr. Arjun Lakhe earned his Ph.D. in economics for his comprehensive doctoral research titled Growth and Disparities of Agricultural Development in Maharashtra 1961 to 2007, which has contributed valuable insights into the regional agricultural progress and its imbalances over time. His academic journey also includes a key role in 3 UGC major research projects wherein he served as a research assistant. In recognition of his commitment to research, Dr. Arjun Lakhe has been awarded a minor research project by the University of Mumbai. His academic contributions include co-authoring 3 reference books related to economics and publishing 15 research papers in national and international journals. His dedication to scholarship is further reflected in his active participation in over 25 workshops, seminars, and conferences where he has both shared and expanded his knowledge. His work has earned him several awards, including multiple Best Research Paper Awards at both the national and international platforms. Apart from his academic pursuits, Dr. Arjun Lakhe is also a passionate sportsman. A national level hockey player, he has represented his state and participated in numerous state and national level hockey tournaments, showcasing his talent and discipline in the sport. His diverse achievements in both academics and athletics make him a well-rounded individual, contributing significantly to his fields of passion. Let's welcome vidyavchaspati Dr. Arjun Lakhe.
Namaskar. At the outset, I would be very grateful to the prt43 Vidyalaya Association management for such golden opportunity to express about our doctoral studies, what exactly was the research problem, how was it studied, and what were the inferences derived from the detailed study of a particular research problem. The topic of my doctoral research was growth and disparities of agricultural development in Maharashtra, and the period which was selected, that was 1961 to 2007. Though the period is up to 7, that was up to the time of my registration for the PhD. But as study went ahead, I had carried forward that time period up to 2010. So the entire time period is of 5 decades. That is since the inception of the state of Maharashtra to the 2010. If I have to present what exactly I had done in my doctoral research, then obviously I must say the importance or the significance of the study, and another, that what made me to select this topic to study, and then obviously I have to explain the objectives, what sort of methodology I adapted, that what was the the chapterization. But I'll explain, I'll try to avoid the technical things at my level best. And the last we will discuss about that what were the findings and the policy implications that is from this study. If you look at the entire process of economic growth and development of the nation and the state of Maharashtra as well, then we'll come to know that the economic growth, along with the widening regional disparity, which has been a matter of serious concern. And we know that regional disparity across the regions, it exists because of the different resource endowments. It means that one state has a particular resource available, another state doesn't have, and therefore that regional disparity exists across the states. One thing that I would like to mention here before we proceed to the details of the study, that fruits of economic growth and development that are not equally distributed among the states. And we know that since 1991 to till date, that some states are going ahead in some sectors. Some states have been lagged behind in either many sectors or the few sectors. And if you look at the sector-wise analysis of the economic growth and development, then we'll come to know that either industry or the service sector or the agriculture sector, all these sectors have been benefited because of the economic reforms adopted in the 1991. But the regional disparity, which is more pronounced in the agriculture sector as compared to the other sectors. Now, one more thing that I would like to tell, what exactly is the significance of this study? And we know that green revolution, which we had, the green revolution technology that we had adopted in the mid-60s, obviously that made us to be the food sufficient economy from the food deficient economy, and which obviously influenced positively upon the certain states in the country. States like Punjab, Haryana, these states, I'll say that is the beneficiaries of the green revolution. But there are many states lagged behind in this process. And the green revolution technology on the one hand, which resulted the high growth in agricultural output of certain states, and which has resulted the high magnitude of disparity across the states, that we have to take into account that NEP, that new economic reforms and the green revolution both have affected positively some states and negatively most of the states in the country. And therefore we need to take into account, we have to understand, we need to study that what is the intensity, what is the magnitude of the disparity in the several sectors, and that I have tried to study this the regional disparity analysis for the state of Maharashtra. Now, another point, as I said, that if you come to the state of Maharashtra and the agriculture sector in Maharashtra, then obviously we have to take into account the Maharashtra's economy. We know that Maharashtra is one of the industrialized and the urbanized states of the country. And if you look at the economic indicators of the state, that performance of the Maharashtra state is quite good in most of the economic indicators. But when we come to the agriculture sector has not utilized its potential of development. Still, there is potential to grow. There is a potential to develop, and as a result of this, the magnitude of regional disparity in agriculture sector in the state, I'm saying, you know, which is offering the fruits of it in the form of farmer suicide. And unfortunately, that the Maharashtra state is, you know, the leading state when it comes to the least of the farmer suicides in the country, you know. And therefore, the quantitative assessment of the factors contributing the development of agriculture sector, that should be studied at the regional level, and obviously it would be very beneficial in reorienting the programs and the priorities of the agriculture development. And obviously this is very essential to maintain the balanced agriculture development in the state. And this effort, this doctoral study, which is sort of the quantitative assessment of all these factors at two levels, one at the output level and another is at the input level. Obviously, there were certain objectives had been, during the study, and examining the regional growth and disparity, examining the expansion of agriculture input and the disparity in the use of agriculture inputs, and that understanding what are the reasons, what are the causes of interregional disparity in agriculture development, which was one of the important objective of this study. And at the end of this study, we have tried to recommend the measures to enhance the growth prospects of agriculture in the state and its regions. Any kind of study, it begins with, the tentative statement. And the hypothesis, which is nothing but the hypothesis of this study is the magnitude of interregional disparity in agriculture has increased due to uneven growth of physical infrastructure facilities, and further it has widened during the post-economic reform period. We need to take into account that three things that we have to understand in this hypothesis. Actually, obviously there are, the subsets of hypothesis, number 1, 2, 3. But one is that the intensity of interregional disparity in agriculture that has increased. I'm talking about the state of Maharashtra. Now, why does it happen? This has happened because of the uneven growth of physical infrastructure facilities. What are the physical infrastructure facilities for the agriculture sector? We know that the irrigation is one of them, the soil or the land, which is another, then the high yielding variety seeds, So if you look at all these, that inputs used in the agriculture, the facilities offered to the agriculture sector, there is uneven growth. And we are claiming that this uneven growth of physical infrastructure that has widened during the post-economic reform period, that is after the 1991. The study period of the time period of this study is 5 decades, that is 61 to 2010. So what I'm saying that after 1991, that regional disparity because of the uneven growth of physical infrastructure that was widened, that is post-reform period. Now let's go to the research framework of the study. There were many challenges, but that aligning the data with data of a particular district with the parent district, that was the biggest challenge before us. We know that there are historically and geographically, there are 4 regions, that is Konkan, Western Maharashtra, Marathwada and Vidarbha. And since the inception of this state, since the establishment of this state, 61 to 75, we had 26 districts with 4 administrative divisions. In the year 1976, the government of Maharashtra had, increased the number of the districts from 26 to 30. And at the same time, we had increased this number from 4 to 7. We had Sindhudurg, Jalna, Latur and the Gadchiroli districts. These districts were newly created, and the Nashik, Kolhapur and Amravati divisions were newly created by the government of Maharashtra. In the 1987, we had one more administrative division along with the 30 district, that was the Latur division was separated from the Aurangabad. And in the year 2000, we had 4 more districts, that are Nandurbar, Hingoli, Washim, Gondia. These are the districts newly created by the government of Maharashtra in the 2000. So we had studied 34 districts. We had not excluded any district from our study, and we had managed that we had included the data of newly created district with its, the parent district, and that we succeeded in the aligning data with all the parent districts, earlier. Obviously, this study is at the two levels. One is measuring growth, agriculture growth of output, and as obviously the growth of use of inputs. And at the same time, we try to measure the disparity, regional disparity. In order to calculate or measure the growth, we had used the annual compound growth rate, which is called as CAGR, and another, that is the Gini coefficient. Gini coefficient is the popular one of the popular statistical tools of inequality measurement. If you look at the results of the Gini coefficient, when the results of Gini coefficient come to close to zero, it means that there is perfectly equality. And when the results of Gini coefficient come close to the 1, then it is the total concentration. We can conclude that there is perfect inequality. So Gini coefficient helps us to know that what is the level of concentration or what is the level of inequality amongst the regions of the state. So one is the CAGR and another is the Gini coefficient that we had used to measure the agricultural growth and the inter-regional disparity in agricultural development. We had used different types of government reports like epitome of agriculture, and this is one of the important statistical document, and which is available with the government of Maharashtra. Then the season and crop report, statistical after Maharashtra, socioeconomic survey report of Maharashtra, and as I said, the time period of the study, the entire time period is 1961 to 2010, and this time period that was split into 5 sub periods to identify intertemporal disparities in agriculture. The time period 1 means that is the 1 decade, 61 to 70, period 2 is 71 to 80, period 3 is 81 to 90, period 4 is 91 to 2000, period 5 is 2001 to 10, and the last, which is the overall period, that is entire 50 years, the period that we had taken into account. Before going to understand what are the results, what were the policy implications, we need to take into account the agricultural growth profile, wherein we have tried to measure the annual, the compound growth rate of certain variables. Like, if you look at this, here we will try to understand this changing sectoral composition of state income. If you look at this, the composition in the sense that the contribution of each sector in the state income. If you look at the agriculture allied sector, in the year 1961, this sector used to contribute, the share of this sector was 31% into the total income of the state, which reduced up to 21% in 1991 and 11% in 2019. So look at, there is fall in the share of agriculture and allied sector in the state income. Whereas, if you look at the contribution of industry and the services sector into the state income, then we'll come to know that the industrial sector contribution in the state income was 23% in the year 1961, which is increased up to 29%. More or less, we can say that which was increasing. When it comes to the services sector, we have seen that rapid change. We have seen that the services sector had contributed significantly in the state income. In the year 61, it was 46%, and in the year 2000, it was 60%. So on the one hand, the agriculture sector's contribution in the state income that had reduced, whereas the industrial and the service sector contribution to the state income had increased. That is very important. Actually, this was up to the study period, that is up to 2010. But I was curious about what exactly is happening after 2010. And the graphs that you are looking on the screen, we'll come to know that since 2012-13 to the 23-24, these are the latest figures that tells us, these are the latest figures that tell us that the agriculture sector has shown the fall in the growth rates. The industrial and the service sector, if you look at the industrial sector, it was minus 5.2%, whereas the service sector had recorded minus 13.4%. That was the performance of these sectors. And the performance of the agriculture sector, that was the contribution of this sector was 11.6%. CGR of land use pattern. Land use pattern tells us that whatever the land available in the state, what are the factors, what are the areas for that the land is being used. And one is the forest. We know that during the entire time period that the forest land has shown the negative growth. It means that there is deforestation. And what is the figure? That the forest, which is, I'll say that is the deforestation is there, which is, that is 0.1%. If you look at the figures which is in the red color, then we will come to know the non-agriculture use of land, the annual growth rate of the use of such land, which is the land which is used for non-agriculture purpose, that was recorded up to 1.20%. And if you look at the net sown area, that is the third last, that is 6 number factor, which has shown minus 0.27%. If you look at the area sown more than once, which has shown 4.1%, what does it mean? On the one, deforestation is taking place. On the other hand, whatever the available land which is being used for the non-agriculture purpose, there is fall in the net sown area, and whatever is the cultivated land which is being cultivated more than once. Look at the pressure on the land which is cultivated, isn't it? And the total cropped area which had shown the 0.3% growth in this. Again, the rainfall, we know that we have the low and uneven rainfall, and these are the figures that we have to take into account for the over period of time. The 0.4%, that was the total rainfall for all the periods, that is 61 to 2010 in the state. We can conclude that there is low and the uneven rainfall. That is one of the reasons, that is one of the causes of the inter-regional disparity in the agriculture development. If you look at the cropping pattern in Maharashtra, then the production of main crops and the yield of various crops, we have to take into account again the CAGR of all these things, area under cultivation, production, and the productivity. It is revealed that the area under cultivation was not increased sufficient or significantly, whereas it had shifted from food crops to the non-food crops. And whatever the shifting from the food to the cash crops, that was uneven, and that is the point of concentration that we have to take into account. What was the total area under cultivation of a particular or a group of crops that is shifted towards the cash crops? What are these regions? Why these regions shifted towards the cash crops? That we have to take into account. And in case of production, the growth rate was remained low and declining in most of the crops. And as far as the productivity is concerned, it was recorded very low. Whenever when we talk about the performance of any economy or any sector, particularly the agriculture sector, obviously we take into account the productivity. The productivity of the crops cultivated in the state, which is low. We have to take into account this. The regional analysis of the area under cultivation, production of various crops, and the productivity of various crops. We have to understand that there was considerable disparity, significant disparity in the area under cultivation of the non-food crops than the food crops, as I said. But there was significant concentration occurred in the sugarcane. I think I did not to say that the regions like Western Maharashtra, these are the sugar belts. But you won't believe, we will discuss ahead, there are certain regions like Marathwada region. The sugar cane is becoming the one of the important crops for this region. And if you look at the rainfall, the irrigation availability, and the other factors available, we need to think about it. The sugar cane, cotton, bajra, soybean, sunflower, groundnut crops had higher level of disparity production in the state. When it comes to the crop level, disparity, then obviously during the over a period of time, the crops like cash crops like sugarcane, cotton had recorded this significant disparity across the regions of the state. Whatever is the performance of the regions of the state, because of the certain factors. What are these factors? As I said earlier, that is the irrigation facility available, then the availability of the high yielding variety seeds, and the consumption of the chemical fertilizers. Obviously, these are the important factors contribute in the development of agriculture sector of any state, and we have taken into account. What were the findings that we have to take into account? That, as I said, the Konkan region is the region for the rice crop. But when we analyzed the data, we came to know that the groundnut is the crop which is, I'll say that is the emerging crop for the Konkan region. And as far as the net irrigated area, the growth in the net irrigated area, that is remained low at the level of state. When I was analyzing the net irrigated land in the state, I couldn't get the data after 2009-10. Yesterday, even I was searching the data for the net irrigation or the gross irrigated, the percentage of irrigation, gross irrigated to the the gross cultivated area. I couldn't get it. The latest figure that I could get, that is from the economic survey report, that is year 2009-10. And what was the record? The record was 17.5%. That was the irrigation. We can consider it max to max 18% land was under the irrigation. What does it mean? It means that more than 80% land was under the that depends upon the monsoon. So we have to go ahead. In irrigational status report of government of Maharashtra, it tells us that what is our potential for the irrigation. The potential is that 225 million hectares. What is our capacity that we have utilized? We have reached to the 75 million hectares. Still, we have to go ahead. We have to go ahead. We have not reached our destination. As far as the irrigation by sources is concerned, that was recorded low during the 90s and the 2000s. And if you look at the crop-wise irrigation, it shows that there was need to raise the growth rate of crop irrigation in regions where it is. As I said that, what are the findings? The findings of the study are, as I said in the middle of my presentation, that the declining share of agriculture sector in the economic development of Maharashtra, and that is from 31 to 11%. When it comes to the regional growth and disparity in agriculture, and then obviously we have taken into account the area, then the production and the productivity. That is at the output level, and the input level that we have to take into account the growth in the utilization of irrigation, high yielding variety seeds, and the consumption of chemical fertilizers. When it comes to the area under cultivation, that Western Maharashtra has occupied significant share in the area under sugarcane, which is one of the important cash crops for the state. When it comes to the Marathwada and Vidarbha region, both regions had shown higher share in area under cultivation of many food crops. What does it mean? That a particular region is ahead in cash crop, and most of the regions, they were ahead in the food crops that we have to take into account. And there was highest disparity in cultivation of sugarcane crop among the regions of Maharashtra over a period of time. And if you look at the Gini coefficient for the sugarcane concentration, that was 0.61%, which was the highest result that we found in our study. The production of main crops. I have explained that the growth rate of production of food crops that was low in all regions. And the same trend was observed in all the decades of the study period. When it comes to the growth rate of production of food crops, the crops like rice, which is concentrated in some parts of Vidarbha and the Konkan region. The Konkan region was recorded the highest growth rate with another crop, which is the groundnut production. And the groundnut crop can be another pillar of the agriculture development in the Konkan region. When it comes to the Marathwada region was produced more food grain crops with 2.0%, 2.0 growth rate, which was higher than the state level growth over a period of time. Productivity of main crop, as far as the productivity of main crops is concerned, the growth rate of yield was low in all regions, and it was uneven too. The same trend was observed in all the decades of the study. The growth rate of productivity of cash crops that was higher than the food crops. When we come to the regional disparity in agriculture inputs, which is nothing but the causes of regional disparity in agriculture growth, out of the total net irrigated area, 54.3% area was irrigated by the Western Maharashtra, followed by Vidarbha with 22%, Marathwada 21%, and lastly the Konkan only 1% over a period of time. So we need to think about it. If we really want to contribute to the development of the agriculture sector across all the regions, we need to take into account the irrigation projects, all the sources of the irrigation. Out of the total gross irrigated area in Maharashtra, that 55% area was in Western Maharashtra, 21.4% in Vidarbha, and 1.6% in the Konkan. There was higher level disparity of well irrigation in the regions of Maharashtra. When we analyze source-wise irrigation, then it was 0.4% over a period of time, but it was declining during the decades. When it comes to the high-yielding variety seeds of rice, 44% of seeds that was sown in Vidarbha region, followed by 29.8% in Konkan region, and 29.2 and 6.9% in Western Maharashtra and Marathwada respectively. Now, what are the policy implications? We could understand that there is uneven agricultural growth in the state of Maharashtra, and this is because of the uneven physical infrastructure facilities or the agriculture uneven distribution of agriculture inputs. Now, what are the policy implications for this? Number one that we have to take into account, that is the irrigation. The study showed that the sufficient irrigation facilities did not take place in the Maharashtra in the last 5 decades. We do not have the irrigation data in economic survey report since 2000. I couldn't get it. High-yielding variety seeds is another. There was only few high-yielding variety seeds available in all the regions of Maharashtra. Now it has to provide in respect of all crops. The research in agriculture universities, now they should reach out of the boundaries of the agriculture university campus. The consumption of chemical fertilizers, it has to distribute as per the need of the crops in all regions of the state to balance the agriculture sector. We know that consumption of chemical fertilizers, though we are promoting the organic farming, we have not all the states. We do not have all the states, under the organic farming like state of Assam. It will happen gradually in the future. But today, the consumption of chemical fertilizer is the need of hour that should be made available to all the farmers cultivating all the crops. Another, the crop planning for the food management. We know that the demand for the agriculture commodities and the supply of the agriculture commodities, we have to manage this. And how to manage this? This is the policy issue. The crop planning would be the best reason, the possible solution over it. And another is the agricultural infrastructure. The expansion of agriculture infrastructure has been low in the agriculturally backward regions like Marathwada and Vidarbha. We need to introduce several policies to promote the production or to influence to increase the productivity of certain cash crops as well as the food crops. And this is also that is one of the important policy implications, and that is separate region is not the solution to tackle the disparity. We know that there is a rising demand for the separate Vidarbha state. why there is a demand for, Vidarbha as a state. The Vidarbha state is, the backward state in terms of the agriculture. We know that Vidarbha is one of the regions for the rainfall. But at the same time, this is the region which leads the least of the farmer suicides. And I think instead of demanding the separate state, the demand for separate Vidarbha state, that is not the I'll say that the viable solution. We need to take into account that instead of demanding the Vidarbha as a separate state, we need to consider that policies. We need to take into account that what sort of facilities we can provide to all the farmers in the state. Yes, it has neglected for the agriculture development since last 5 decades. We know that. And therefore, we have experienced agrarian disasters, agrarian distress in the Vidarbha. And that is, as I said, that the government of Maharashtra, the government of India has to focus this state. It has to provide sufficient agriculture inputs without any excess economic burden. And that would be the best solution on it instead of making it separate. I think that would be one of the policy implications. I again very much thankful to the respected members of the management for giving this opportunity. Thank you so much.
विज्ञानेन सदृशं पवित्रमिह विद्यते विज्ञानेन सदृशं पवित्रमिह विद्यते विज्ञानेन सदृशं पवित्रमिह विद्यते